Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I think I can say that faster. We'll try it tomorrow. Here, it's still loading. So we had a little bit of a move higher. But at the moment, we are basically where we closed yesterday in Treasuries. So you can see here in the 10-year. You know what? This is not... Somebody's been messing. I feel like someone's been messing. Okay. Anyways, so you can see we're about where we closed. And I mean, it really took off after I left. So we had this kind of thing here. And it just, it took off. E-mini did not close the gap, though. They did not close the gap. Well, they came close. Maybe it's close. I don't know. Maybe it's close enough. Could be. But with this, well, okay, so that's interesting. Why is the bull bear zone there? There to there. Well, it says that we're in the bull bear zone, so yeah, we're gonna have to watch the volume. Does look like the book is bid at the moment, though. And we have some numbers today, don't we? Do we have numbers? Let's look what's on the docket. Also, I need to open up the squawk. Okay. So today we have... Oh, we don't have a whole lot. Thursday we've got some stuff. Thursday and Friday. Friday is the ADP, so... Okay. Well, we might still have some good action, though. I mean, we had some pretty good back and forth yesterday. They turned into a trend, and now I think we're in a time period where we could see quite a few moves. So they did move lower here. I just want to check where are we at on a larger time frame for the spreads. Why is it doing that? Stop that. Okay. We actually steepened on this part of the curve. Everybody's talking about the curve flattening, but it was on the short end of the curve. It was not on the long end of the curve, which is interesting. Okay, so here's just before the open, they're buying it here. Observe actually went short the knob spread. That is interesting. Let's get the links. So you've blah, blah, blah. Copy. There we go. They're trying to buy it. They're trying to buy it. Good morning. See people filtering in. I should just always do that first. Too bad the bot thing didn't work out. That was really cool, but oh well. Good morning, Twitch. That's interesting. He said his margins weren't reduced. Well, they really pushed it down there fast. CQG sucks. That's interesting. So the E-mini bought on that. There must have been some. Oh, we don't have the squawk open. So the legs individual, so it was kind of risky, but order flow strong. Huh?
By the way, Munition's commentary there, or interview with the Fox Business News is over.
Not quite sure what I want, how I want to do this. I would like to be short, but that 24.5 was the most pullback that we got, and that wasn't really even a pullback. Although they are, well, you know, the book is a little bit biased.
I think Munition's was finding some love with the spoos. E-Min is there, just trading up a bit, 27.85, around about that mark. Seems to recover.
That's interesting. Oh, he's got an Ishimoku cloud on that. All right. It's gonna be like that. Then we're just gonna do it. This trade has always been a love-hate relationship, but the context is right. So, okay. So they're trying to hold it there. All right. Well, they took 23.5. 24 is holding strong though. They hit back into that and there's a lot absorbing. It looks like they're gonna give it another chance.
Again, we're looking at labour productivity for Q3 up shortly. 0.2 expected after 0.2 out of Canada. Also, don't forget we've got milk auctions, dairy prices today.
Oh, it was Wilbur Ross. The economy is really strong. The media blows slowdown worries out of proportion. The 5 year is threatening. He's like, I'ma do it, guys. You guys, you better get in your starting positions because I want to do it. Yeah. That is very strong selling, folks. And the cumulative delta is not really down.
Ten seconds. Point 0.3% there for labour productivity rate, up from 0.2% predicted and 0.7 last time round, actually. 0.7 last time round.
They can clear that 23. Man, oh man. Hmm. Well, the pressure still looks like down, but it's not going, and the 10 year is, sorry, the 30 year is kind of running into some support here now at 05. Even though the 5 year continues to just look like, oof. That there at 23 looks like profit taking. I want to see, it's likely that they clear it, but then we got to see what they actually put on the offer. Or if the E-mini buys, happen too. Although they're kind of in a spot where I think they might take it back a little bit in the E-mini. Let's see. It's definitely the E-mini pushing them. Okay, 593. That didn't look like enough. There is some offers though. E-mini came back. Okay, now they're pushing it. 5-year made a new low. Sorry, now they made a new low. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Didn't happen. It's okay.
Dollar seems to have found its feet a bit more from the earlier onslaught that we saw. We're looking at a dollar yen off its lows here at the moment, 112, spot 80. We're looking at euro dollar and cable, both turning south for the time being. And today we've had the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin alongside Wilbur Ross, Commerce Secretary, just out on the wires today and out on the news channels. Seriously, we haven't heard from the president himself.
Oh, he must mean on Twitter. The president hasn't tweeted. Excuse me. I thought I was like over it, but I guess I'm still a little sick. Hmm. So the book looks very in favor of buying in the bond, at least, which is right there at its VWAP. And we're getting some really severe spreading. But look at this. So ZB, we went down to 03. We're now good. What? 6 ticks higher. ZN has come up one tick. ZB is pushing hard too. Yeah, they barreled through a couple of big orders even. It's pretty thick over here in ZB2. Like you're starting to get 1,000 at multiple prices. It's unusual. Well, ZN is kind of not quite to 5. Not quite to 5s, so not super heavy liquidity in the 10-year.
Got Cudlow here says that auto tariff agreement coming hasn't been sealed yet. Cudlow, also tariff agreement is coming, hasn't been sealed yet.
Nope. That's not what I wanted to see. Okay, well, I need to hold. I did think that maybe I could have gotten filled at 23 when I originally put that order in, so that particular tick down is not uh, um does not invalidate the trade. It's just unfortunate. This is going to be really tricky for me because the 30-year is driving some of the action, and the 30-year really has this tendency to do weird stuff, have big pops, and then completely retrace it and screw me over. This is that right there is exactly why I don't trade ZB. Okay, but they are putting some liquidity up above us, so
IP theft and forced tech transfer hasn't been resolved yet, but then he does say it has to be stopped. Energy news now. Saudi Aramco sets January Arab light crude price Asia at 60 cents a barrel above Oman Dubai quotes.
Okay.
Like 2 3 year Treasury yield curve inverts for the first time since January 2008, with the 2 to 5s again staying inverted at present. Just be aware that South Africa, this is for the Rand, South Africa lawmakers have voted to adopt a report on land reform. A mover for the Rand.
Hmm. Pretty strong defense there at 23.
Got the dollar Rand there at 13.64, the figure.
The spreads are just wild. This is going to make it hard. This is an environment that I haven't seen before. I think you buy at 23, but then you'd only, what would you take it off at? Because you could take it off 23, 24. I don't know if the risk is worth it. I think it'd be much better if it came back up to 26 and we could short it there. So I think this little range in here playing that game that we just did twice is not the right way to go. Okay.
But then on his interview says that the White House will meet with German automakers one by one.
Block
Oh.
by.
Oh. Ew. Okay, so they did block by, but it's like right there on the edge where they've been having trouble. You see what you smelling what I'm stepping in, guys? I'm not sure what I want to do here. We got a steady flow of people coming in today. How are you guys doing? We got. Don't be shy. Just remember, like the Twitch and the YouTube chat, you can spam that all you want. I don't care what you put in there, really, unless you're an asshole like traders or someone like that, right? But otherwise, especially in the Twitch chat with the emoticons and everything, like go crazy. So you want to do something serious? We got Discord for that. So you see, there was a block buy at 24. 7,000 contracts went through, and they're not actually ticking up through, and the 23 half is now pulling in as weak. Hmm. See, they want us to buy at 24. And maybe they take out 24 half and maybe they don't. I actually think they may do it, but in fact, we could maybe play with this one. Right? But if it does it, I'm gonna be even still wary still. I'm just dying over here. I'm gonna turn the cam off so you don't have to see that. It's nasty. I thought that I was like all clearing out, but now this stuff is starting to. The mucus is flowing.
He agreed to reclassification of. Oh, sorry, he's talking about individual fentanyl. Apparently, Cudlow's still with his PR initiative at the moment. Now, as we've seen with officials from the government, we've heard, as I said, from Cudlow, Mnuchin, and Ross.
I mean, from a trading perspective, I guess what the administration is doing right now makes sense, right? So you pull this over here. Huh? I mean, things look pretty positive. Now, of course, that what do we call it? A doji is kind of a bad thing, but there's still a gap, and we're still above it. Like we kind of closed it, and that was it. So if the market can really get going here, you get the end of year buying, and we could close this huge gap right here, and could be really positive. So I think that a little bit of cheerleading, it looks like, you know. Okay, so the 10-year is they're pulling. They pulled a little bit of 24 half. They're buying into it. Okay. Well, that was quite a bit all at once, wasn't it? Okay.
It's possible Trump and Xi will meet again, says Kudlow.
It's possible. So it's just kind of pushing that liquidity that's been above us further up. Kind of like like a roll in. You put in the pressure and it kind of just squishes it up instead of going
US
over
will
it.
ensure enforcement is part of any agreement. Similar to what Mnuchin said. Note US same store sales saw a rise of 7% weekend index first. That's down from 7.9% the week before. That's on an annual read. Red Book month over month for the December first week was up 0.8% in line with last 0.8%.
So the 30-year is kind of in a key area of resistance from the early in the session. Yes. Oops. There we go. So this is pretty thick, and we're not actually. I don't know. There's a little bit of pulling and stacking there. It was a strong move up in ES. Mm. So they pushed there for a little bit and then they're backing off. Well, I can see here in ZB, they kind of are holding the spot here that back in. It actually looks fairly balanced here in the 10-year. Okay, they pushed up. Nothing went into 13 though. They stacked quite a bit when it came back down. See ZB trade 600, 700 over and over and over again is a little unusual. There's definitely some serious interest in ZB. Now they're really pushing. Yeah. Stops too.
ECB just says forex reserves have risen 600 million euros to 270.5 billion a week.
And the big order pulled in ZB. Okay. So it is something I'm noticing here. It looks to me like the sellers are holding it, or that there's a lot of profit taking in this area around 25, 25 half. But when I look at my jigsaw indicator up above in the, well, right here, particularly this one, because this is the absorption, it says that they're absorbing more on the buy side. So that actually kind of is kind of bullish. And the 5-year has this big order up there. I want to see if they can get back up to that big order if something big shows up below us. Okay, so something big just showed up below us at 23. He knows, he's listening. He's like, Seth, look, here's this order. I'm going to put it here. You sell it. And then I'll push it up against you. Okay.
Block cell.
Mm-hmm. This could be. I like this setup so far. I really like the way that I got filled. There was a lot of liquidity. They're holding it. Um, they cleared it, but they immediately pushed it back down. There was a lot on the buy that got pushed through, and then there was a block sell, and the block sell was at our price. So
Block buy.
we're in a good spot. It looks like they're gonna fight over it though. You have this disagreement again, huh? Let's hold off on this and wait until they give us a clear sign as to what they're going to do. They might try and bust that 26. That 26 looks a little. I bet there's some stops on that thing. And the 5 year. Hmm. Piece of tape on my shirt. Is there. Did they move it up? I don't see it. They put one on in ZN. It just disappeared in ZF. Mm-mm-mm. Then now that's pulling at 26. Only 18 to trade through it. No stop run. Hmm. Okay. Look at ZB. Okay, but ZB is at a spot. Let's see. Now they're stacking at 015. And they're bracketing it in the 30. You know, it kind of sucks. I bought at 23.5 and it didn't really do the thing, but then when they eventually did later move through it, and I kind of said, oh, I don't think it's worth it now. But I should have kept it. Where did it do that? 637. 643. Yeah. It was like there was just that little dip, and then after that, they were good. So that was just like too early. Okay, well, one tick above the VWAP, right? Touching at 26.5, which is still point of control for the session. Okay. So now they are pushing beyond the VWAP.
Saudi minister, doesn't seem to be any agreement whether that's between the two countries or across the spectrum of OPEC, but that's Nigeria, minister.
Now, interestingly enough, Jigsaw says that my VWAP is at 26, and my own VWAP indicator says that it's at 26.5.
Those who may have missed it earlier today, we did hear from Alpha Lead of Saudi Arabia. There was a course of cuts amongst OPEC members just yet. There was a source story from Reuters that suggested that Russia was holding up any kind of consensus, really, and that they whether they would cut on it in line with other OPEC members because of their resistance. No movement as yet. Nigeria's oil minister says we want to study oil market balance before deciding. Saudi Aramco raises prices for Jan crude to US, Europe, and the Middle East. Mediterranean run. MED. So Arab Light crude oil OSP to United States is now plus $2.90.
Okay.
December.
So that was a good stack, and they sold it almost immediately. That's interesting.
Block buy.
Okay. So the amount of liquidity that is on the buy side is starting to decrease, so they may be running out of steam here. I think the 5-year may take another step up, and then we might see our entry. Plus, they're touching 16 in ZB. Touching 16. The 16 is where they held them before. Maybe. Okay. Hmm. See how much it's taking to hold it there?
Pricing of some European debt then. That European Union, 515 million euro, 1.25% no grow, 2033 tap, priced at 5 basis points under mid swaps.
Okay. So I'm starting to see a possible turn in ZB here. Things have really slowed down at the VWAP too. There was quite a bit of a fight, and then we moved up 2 ticks, and now it's just not doing anything. See, why would you, well, they did try to push it up at 27, but they just don't seem to have the oomph to do it yet. So you gotta wonder.
Full equity rundown ahead of the US cash open is up on the board. Just a reminder then, for those that are unaware, tomorrow there is a holiday. Federal government will shut down the US in honor of George H.W. Bush Memorial, basically, day of mourning. So just be aware of the opening and closing times. We'll put up some links as well. We saw Asia markets overnight really start positively, then give back. I think some of the US equities, the rally in risk assets sparked by the trade truce faded as investors grew sceptical that the US and China made any meaningful breakthrough. Contracts on the S&P 500, Dow Jones, and Nasdaq indexes all pointed to shares giving up yesterday's gains at the New York Open. News on Apple, Kroger, and some earnings numbers out today as well. All up on the board.
So that is really pulling at 26.5. Quite extreme. Oh, Ace Trades went short 27.84, huh? I don't know. So the E-mini kind of looks like, oh man.
Again, this is just the
Hold on.
The intrigue of government at the moment. But Rees-Mogg is apparently a tweet says Rees-Mogg is now back in the government with some amendments having more than a fighting chance as Paul War on Twitter at the moment. So one of the biggest detractors of the government and the current Brexit proposals, Rees-Mogg apparently is. It looks like Eurosceptics apparently are backing the government, so the vote on contempt will come down to what the DUP decide to do. And just be aware that President Trump is on the wires at the moment.
Uh-oh. Looking forward to being with the wonderful Bush family at the Blair House today. What the fuck? Okay. The former First Lady will be coming over to the White House this morning and to be given a tour of the Christmas decorations by Melania. The elegance and precision of the last 2 days have been remarkable. He's excited to see the Bushes, huh? Well, this should be interesting. I guess he's never actively shown any disdain for George Bush and the elder. Only Jeb.
Block sell.
Okay. Yes, okay. Hmm. I find it curious too. It was hard for me to get filled there at 26.5, but a lot of volume has gone through it since. It is the point of control VWAP. For them to have such a hard time getting over that one particular price seems a little odd. And I do, well, I was starting to see a change in the level too. Like the book was starting to go negative, but now it's kind of, it's still holding there. And the absorption is just, it still looks like buying, but see now they've bought an 11K at 26.5. I think that's a lot. Especially when there was a block sell there earlier. Hmm.
So the French blockade of the Brest oil depot has been lifted, says AFP.
Block
I
sell.
know this dispute was also hitting the major Total refineries as well. But that's French blockade at Brest oil depot now over.
They gonna do 20K at 26? Damn. Whew. And they took down. Oh boy, okay. If we can build up a good offer here at 26, that'd be super positive. We got this liquidity below us to contend with in the CF though. Is it gonna stay there or is it gonna pull? Because the stuff on the upside pulled. Zerv said that he's not really trading the treasuries today, and I asked, well, then where's all this volume coming from?
Over a minute now from the cash open.
Well, so 26 was where we saw it, 20K. Let's write that down. Actually, I should say 20K buy. All right. It went offer for a second, but they didn't really hold a strong offer. Now they're coming back up to the 26 half, and it's pulling again. Yeah. Excuse me if these sounds are gross, but
No, there's a communique from the U.S. Treasury Department regarding tomorrow holiday closure. Federal government offices. Put it up on the board for you. Negotiations with China have already started, says Trump. Unless extended, they will end in 90 days. President Trump on the wires there. Negotiations with China have already started. Unless extended, they will end in 90 days from the date of our wonderful and very warm dinner with President Xi in Argentina. Bob Lighthizer will be working closely with Steve Mnuchin, Larry Kudlow, and Wilbur Ross and Peter Navarro. There is more to come on Trump. But this is similar to what we heard from, I think Mnuchin was talking about 90 days.
okay. So some volume through on that, and a tick down. And they're holding good volume they're holding good liquidity at 26. That might have been what we needed to flip things around. Interesting. Well, I think all the Twitter bots bought that. Hmm. Well, they bought through it again, but they're holding 2,000. Now 3,000, and it actually flipped. Are they gonna hit into 25 half? There was some block buys at 25 half too, right? Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
More comments now from White House economic advisor Kulu. The car tariff issue with China will be a litmus test for trade relations.
Hmm. Come on, Carla. Only good things. Let's only say good things. Only happy things about how great the economy is, and
From Lightizer, we'll be working closely on
why everybody should buy the E-mini. Everybody should buy the E-mini right now. That's what we want to hear. Come on. Aww. Okay, so we should know. Although that was a good tick down, and I still like it, and the E-mini is still going. Although it looks like you're getting a lot of aftershocks. That those jigsaw indicators are all still blue. Okay. Everyone knows the markets are closed tomorrow. Yes, we had a big discussion about that yesterday, actually. Okay, so that wasn't good. So the E-mini came up there, and now they sold hard.
Results now of the GDT auction coming in at 2.5% versus the prior of 3.5% on the whole milk powder. Coming in at 2.5% against the prior of minus 1.8%. So again, the GDT price index coming in 2.2% versus the prior of minus 3.5% on the whole milk powder, 2.5% prior of minus 1.8%.
E-mini's actually got lower there. Okay. So once again at 26, a pretty good downtick. And 25 half is not quite. Is not giving in. I am seeing the change now in the 5-year. Or at least that the 5-year may be about to flip. And we should also note that ZB came down significantly. Okay, now they're pulling at 25 half. E-mini fighting back there from those lows. Man, this is really, well, okay, so that's the open, right? Where did that start at? It was on the open, yeah. This liquidity below us in the 5-year is not pulling. Hmm. Well, I'm a little suspicious because this 25 half is acting a lot more like that they are trying to coax people into filling them than it is that they're scared. The E-mini is just wild. Trading back and forth, lots of volume in a pretty narrow range. Okay, then now they're hitting at 25, and of course there is a big iceberg there. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. They did. They traded through it now, and it just kind of broke. So there's some pretty serious resistance there in the E-mini, even though they're buying it. I'm not sure what's going on in Treasuries here. Man alive, the icebergs that they are trading through here on the 10-year are insane. Any other day, breaking a 20K iceberg would be like immediate stop run lower. You know? So this is pretty crazy. There must be some really big spreaders out today playing this curve inversion. I wonder if this is going to become the norm during this time period. You could have people putting on and off trades all day and trading huge size like that. That's interesting. The 5-year fell through there, but they didn't like go for it. And they're still having a hard time getting these indicators red. But the E-mini is at the bottom, kind of more towards the bottom of the range right now, so maybe another buying push could take them to new highs and move this a little bit more. Might need to take a bit more of a dip first. Mm. Once again, when they tick down, they are still putting good liquidity at 26. Okay, so here's where I'd expect to see some volume trading here in the ES. Oof. Okay, now they're putting a good bid at 26. The most we ever got out of that was 2? Oh, actually 3. It did tick a little bit into 25.
It's more from Kudlow saying trade talks with China are not designed for China to completely change its economy.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing the icebergs that I expected here in the E-mini. Mm. Okay, so they had that tick up and the 5-year started to really aggressively hit it. Mm.
Kulu again saying if a deal with China is not reached, would increase tariff rates to 25%. Could add to that.
I don't know, guys. Still no bubble. That was a little bit better, though. A lot of activity in the equities now. Okay. So they're back above, they're back to the VWAP at least in the E-mini. Hmm. I mean, they're just kind of on the edge of doing it, and they never do. There's just too much liquidity here. Hmm. And they're only putting up like 500s now, 26. And they've put a 2000 there. Like big buy in the 5-year.
That's more from Kulu. Doesn't see a recession on the horizon.
Oh, stop it. So that was what just happened there in the E-mini was a little bit overly dramatic, I think. This is almost as dramatic as this Discord lobby yesterday. I mean, look at this, guys. Interesting that that was a pretty decent sell, and it took a pretty decent sell for them to try and take 26 and hold it. I don't know if this is gonna. I mean, the things that got me in here are still there. It's just the stuff that would create the momentum to push us down there aren't
So in 10
happening.
minutes' time, we're expected to hear from Fed's Williams, who will be giving the opening remarks and participating in the panel on local employment and labour force trends in the 2nd District in New York City. And no text of the speech is to be released, but a Q&A with journalists is expected. Just a reminder that Fed's Williams is a permanent voter and considered hawkish. Recent comments saying we have always a place to go to get some idea of what people think of as neutral.
No, they're holding there at 26.5. Well, it's fairly equal and going back and forth.
Equity News Now Reuters reporting that Exxon and Chevron are seeking to exit Azerbaijan oil.
Well, I don't like that much going into 27. Yeah. I mean, they're having some of the same problems on the other side now, aren't they? The 10K holding them at 27. The E-mini is kind of just skidding along here. Not bidding a lot, but it's holding. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well, I've given this a lot of space, but
Block buy.
well, damn. That is not stopping. No, that's not right.
Of the technology-related issues and important issues in talks towards a trade deal with China. More from Trump saying on seeing whether or not a real deal with China is actually possible. It is. We will get it done. China is supposed to start buying agricultural product and more immediately. President Xi and I want this deal to happen, and it probably will. If not, remember. Trump finishing that with a ... meaning more to come.
Okay, and they're holding a big bid at 28.
More Brexit news now, picking up from the Daily Mirror that the UK Parliament
Block
will be debating
by.
amendment later today on hand to Parliament if Prime Minister May's Brexit deal is rejected on December 11th.
Yeah. Okay. Something seems to have changed. Hmm. Hmm. It's like 15,000 every step. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, that looks like that was a good bounce in the E-mini. And I definitely saw like the stop run and the reverse and everything, but it's still not doing it. A little bit over here in the 5-year. A little bit over here in the 5-year where they're building up some liquidity. some sell side liquidity. So
Comments now from Feds Williams. The US economy is strong.
hmm. Okay. So we're getting something here in ES.
Fed has reached the objectives as well as it ever has. Lots of indicators saying that labor market is quite strong and healthy. Feds Williams. Expects the economy to continue to grow at a strong rate of 2.5% next year, making it the longest US expansion. Expects price inflation to move a bit above the 2% level, moves annually rise to be higher. Continue to expect further gradual increases in rates from Feds Williams. So continuing to expect further gradual increases in rates. We'll evaluate the incoming data as the Fed decides on policy path.
Okay.
US economy overall in really good shape. Or from Trump saying, I am a tariff man. When people or countries come in to raid the great wealth of our nation, I want them to pay for the privilege of doing so. Always be the best way to max out our economic power. We are right now talking in billions of dollars in tariffs.
Market's not gonna like that one, guys. Yeah, I think I should just get out. Yep. Hmm. So the 5 year is coming up on another key area here. They're like just 2 ticks short of the 04 quarter. There's a bunch of liquidity at 04 looking to get filled there. I don't know.
With the German political news now fast reporting that Schwabel has backed Merz in the leadership race.
You got some very odd liquidity below us in the 5 year now. I don't think they wanted to buy it. The 10 year did, but I don't think that these guys did.
Quote from Trump saying, but if a fair deal is able to be made with China, one that does all of the many things we know must be finally done, I will happily sign, and let the negotiations begin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is the big scary over? No, they're not. They're not quite going for it yet. And just judging on my results, like the MFE and MAE, that one that I lost on, I should have cut off earlier. But so that was a mistake. But I've been finding the spots. It's just not the right way. My positioning is okay though.
Block sell.
Oh, what? What just happened there? Oh, it didn't. I thought I was putting a stop limit and it didn't do it. That's what happened. I just don't understand why it gave me two of those when only one filled. Nope, they're not giving us fills, man. I'm a little bit more than tilted at the moment, I think. Of course. Of course. Hmm.
Block buy.
Hmm. So now the E-mini looks like they might head for the low of the session. I've just been tossed around this range really badly, haven't I? Trying to close the gap, yeah. Excuse caps, that's fine. Yeah, I feel kind of dumb right now just because I really didn't do anything wrong in the beginning. But then I had that one that I was just a little too, like, I had a chance. I was gonna break even on it. And then I was like, well, hold on a second. I did give it this much room and everything. And I thought if I just be patient, then, yeah, I just wasn't thinking straight. You know what I mean? And then, so that was just the loss that I had was bigger than it should have been. And now what's happening is we're in this range and I'm tilting in it, I think. So I need to just kind of chill out a little bit and not be getting into something unless it's my spot. So that buying in the E-mini is a little weak. Okay.
For me, use Dombrowski. A deal on new banking legislation is done.
Because I had my spot at 28.5 and I didn't stick with it. So now we're just getting that thing. Wait, sorry, what are we saying here? Yeah, I've noticed a lot of your trades are in chop or around the point of control. Well, I've been avoiding the point of control, but chop, yeah. I mean, the thing is, so you saw there earlier, there was like a block buy of some sort, and I took it thinking, okay, we're gonna get like a fast move up, and I took it, and then it didn't go, and that was kind of where I started to get screwed up. It's like I'm looking for a spot that, based on the liquidity, should be holding, and I'm finding them, but the overall trade is wrong. And I'd like to say,
Block
I'd like,
buy.
oh my gosh, let's see, what is this? Like, the thing that's so weird about this action is that this buyer is so insistent. because any other day it would have reversed and gone down like 20 times. And right there, we had a pretty good fall down to this 27.5 level. And here the block buy is coming in again. So is it the case that they just don't think that they closed the gap? They're not going to be happy until they've traded 2760? I don't know. The treasuries are coming off a lot, though. See? Like, it's like when I get into one of these. I always go and I say, oh, okay, they're buying through. And so I buy this one and I buy like 26 half and I want to get 26 half to like 28 half, right? And I always think that it's going to be that. But then instead it ends up like this one. It ends up going back on you 2 ticks. And then when you give up on it, and then it goes. So, and it is not trending. That is another thing. So, and something that's really difficult.
I think 500 million, 5% index, 48 kills, December 12th.
Look at all of these ones that also ignore that one, but like I bought for instance at 24 half, I bought at 23 half, right? I did the right thing down there. Well, that one didn't happen, but that one was a level break and it just didn't go, and to only take -1 was okay. But these two could have been worth a ton. And I didn't hold on to it because they'll start to show the pressure and then they'll move it against you and then it'll go. So they're just way too good at faking me out right now. They're just way too good at faking me out right now, is what I feel. And I'm not quite sure what it is that I gotta do to feel more confidence in a spot, because it'll just pull out from underneath of you just like that. And I had another one that I was short at 28 half. And of course they did this nonsense. And now I think I want to go short here, but I mean, I don't know. You're kind of like, it's in the wrong spot. But they are showing some liquidity there. You know? Another thing is when I think it's going to be range bound, it often tends to go through anyways. But I think that one is adverse fill fallacy.
Have all come in better than.
So this is probably a really good example, because they just stacked 28 on there. So now I'm feeling scared and like I should just bail on it. Even though the E-mini is looking a little bit better.
From Feds Williams asked about inverted yield curve, saying doesn't want to lose track of data in hand, still have pretty strong tailwinds to growth next year.
Yeah, I see it ticked up. Now he's smoking Pip said 29.5. Why 29.5? Well, it is in a look, you know what, beyond the volume. There's a real step in the profile there, isn't there?
Watching the financial markets, reading tea leaves, and taking into consideration possible risks.
And the 27.5 is in a low volume node. That's probably like the worst spot to try and take something.
Financial conditions are still pretty favorable to growth, though there are risks on the horizon. Small from Williams very much in data dependent mode, paying attention to possible risks. So watching out for signs the economy may be slowing more quickly than thought, but baseline case is quite positive.
Yeah, but you're right on the point of control. The point of control is 26.5. I guess anywhere within one tick of it is really could be considered the point of control, huh? I guess what I was saying earlier though is I did take trades down here, right? I bought down here and I sold down here. I just never kept those ones. Because it's like it's moving, jostling and moving around a lot, and then it gets scared. Whereas these ones, well, like the one that I took the big loser on, are kind of like slow boils, and they kind of make you comfortable and then stop you
Will
out.
be taking into account November employment reports ahead of the Fed meeting in December. Williams again with the economy on really strong path, further gradual increases over the next year or so, making sense. Williams again saying it is appropriate to further step back forward guide.
Another thing I find frustrating is that this liquidity has been blue all day. you know. So
Trade stop plot will continue. More from Williams.
it's for some reason I'm been fighting it instead of just going, well, okay, until it actually shows red.
Bit of UK political news now. BuzzFeed reporting that Conservative MPs have been told by whips that the contempt vote will be in the next 45 minutes or so.
On most occasions, I think you're best trading the extremes into the point of the control other than trend, obviously. Oh, okay. I mean, I think you're probably a little bit different of a trader from me, though, right? Because I feel like, how do I put this? I've been trying to counter trend trade. Like, I've been trying to short 28.5, and when it came down, I was trying to buy it. And I'm picking really awful spots. But like when you say, you know, it's better to buy the extreme and then take it off at the point of control. Like, I get what you're saying, and I've tried doing that before too, but no. Okay, what did I say was wrong? Hmm. That 5 year is really getting hit. Counter trend. Well, so my understanding of counter trend would be like sell it at 28.5 and then take it off at 26.5. Right? Is that kind of what you're saying though? Yeah, I understand. I kind of tend to would rather want to do like come in at 6:30, uh figure out which way they're going and just take it and hold it, or see a trend. And if it gets to like this spot right here, like standard deviation away, and then I get it, then I come off of it, capping off momentum. Yeah. But so like
Block buy.
yeah. Anyways, I did for a really long time. That's like what I tried to do, is I tried to counter trend trade, and I just seemed to be really bad at it for some reason. I'm not sure what the deal is.
Comments now from Brad Carr, nobody would benefit from it.
But I maybe shouldn't kick myself too hard because there's lots of really weird stuff going on today, yeah? Well, this week, and you know, it will take a little bit to adjust this market. There are some things that I'm already seeing that I think are helpful, but yeah, I don't know if a counter trend. I mean, I think the thing is I think you have to do both. I mean, I guess that's the bigger thing that I'm trying to get into is that I think that you need to be able to make both trend and counter trend picks. And I think that one of the most important skills is being able to tell when we're going to be trading momentum and when we're going to be trading counter trend. Oh, okay. You're saying that you trade the momentum, not the counter trend. But when you trade the counter trend, though, are you looking more for, like you would buy it down at 23 and try and hold it all the way up until 28.5, or at least take some part of that. No, you use the footprint. I don't use the footprint, but I mean, I have similar things, right? I should maybe dust off the footprint that I've made, but this cumulative delta is really kind of more how I look at it. These things, but. Right, I wait for the market to turn at the extreme and the momentum. So if you were to have bought this trend up that we had,
Morgan Williams, that the labor market is incredibly strong.
What price would you have bought it at? Good. Okay. Well, I did get one to work out for 2 ticks. I think that you're saying, I mean, I don't know where you would buy in here. That's kind of my question, but I think that you're saying that you get it in here and then you wait for it to take you to the point of control. Or was the or the VWAP something around there. 24.5. Oh, okay. So, how often do you find yourself where you think that you see the breakout and you buy 24.5, and then that's like right where it turns around? Do you feel that happens to you often, rarely? Like what percent of the time do you think that happens? All you gotta do is limit your price opportunities. If you're looking for subs at any price, you're increasing your opportunity to be wrong. Well, okay, so that's true. I agree with that. I think so on that one, you're totally right. And I think that on that one, I'm just need to work on my self-control a little bit. I think that because I don't seem to have a handle on the direction and whether we're trending or range bound or whatever it is, that's when I start to just take random prices. Did I actually? Because I'm thinking I think I maybe actually did buy 24.5. I did buy 24.5, but I only took a tick off of it. I take 2 to 3 trades. Well, that's good because I try to do that. Although I don't get the London session, I wish I'd like the close. I wish I could get the London close because I've made some good trades off of that. Oh, it's been here in this area for a little bit too long. So let me just why I'm asking that question now is that when I did well, and this was between December and March of this past year, I would see something like this maybe, and we would get up here and I would see signs of momentum, and so then I would like buy it at 23.5, and then or maybe 24 even, and then watch the momentum take us up. And it's not uncommon to see that's this sort of thing right here. Sorry if I can zoom in. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you see how it's kind of like it actually breaks out and then it ranges for one tick higher.
Pretty consistent with productivity growth, no stable inflation.
And then it really it goes up and then it does this and then there's like another further push. It does that a lot. And so I would hold something like that. And when it started really ranging around here, maybe when it did this and it came back to here, then I would take it off at 26.5. Like that's how I used to trade it, right? And what's
Williams, further wage growth should raise overall US inflation a bit above 2% target.
what kind of started to happen to me was something more like this. I would see and say, okay, I think I see some momentum, so I'm going to sell 27.5, and then it would whoop, And okay, if I traded ZN, my price opportunities would be even 16, 24, and 0 of every range, and then I'd specifically wait for those prices to see how the market reacts when it gets to them. Oh, that's okay. That's interesting. And because it does do stuff at those prices, doesn't it? Pull up a 10-minute chart and set your grid lines every 16 ticks, and you'll see what I mean. Yes, no, I totally get what you mean. And 10s, they do it at 10s too. 8 and 10s, 20 and 24. I don't know why, but they just seem to do. But anyways, I would buy it at those spots or sell it at those spots where I felt the momentum was just starting to come in, and then I would try and hold it. And what ended up happening is it worked really well for a really long time, and then all of a sudden it never worked. Do you know what I mean? Like I had gotten really good at it and I was really consistent, and then the market changed and it didn't do it anymore.
As Williams said, reading what markets think is always tricky. The economy is strong, but there are risks on the horizon.
So that's where I'm like, and it's a little bit more complicated than that, obviously, right? Because it's not just like a specific price. It was like, I would be here and I would see something like, okay, I can see there's a big order here, like we did up at the top. I think that we kind of had a big order up at the top. And not really. I mean, they were there. You could see that one right there, for instance. Try to determine what the quarters markets wants. Yeah, okay. I would see one, and I would see that there's some liquidity there, and I could see that like the amount that they wanted to buy or sell and how much they were trying to stack on the price is right for you to actually see some momentum. And what I started to find.
Fed well positioned to adjust to higher or lower than expected US inflation growth.
Yeah. What I started to find was that they would do that thing where they would stack, kind of like they did up here, actually. It would tick up and they would put a ton on the bid. Like here I think at 28, it was like they stacked 6K on it, right? And then before that would be the start of a momentum, and then I've found that actually they do that right on the edge. They try to pressure it out on the edge, and then a bunch of people will get fills at 28.5 and it flips around. That's why I sold 28 half that one time, because I said, well, this is not really acting like really momentum plays today, so maybe I should try fading it. And I saw that one, and you know, ZB is pissing me off right now because it seems to want 24 but also 16, so I'm sitting on my hands. Yeah, I feel you.
Block sell.
Good grief. So here's the other thing. This market action is crazy. You know, like to see much block buying and selling and icebergs this big in the places that we're sitting this is not normal. It's just not normal. So yeah. Well, I did limit myself to -5 ticks, so I'm like within the acceptable range, I guess, but and I did have a winning day yesterday. And the thing that made me mad was when I got to this one and I had +3, and then that one just didn't turn out, because if that one had turned out, then I would be feeling really good. Yeah, Seth, I switch all that off. I can mess with your conviction. Sure. Well, I just kind of like to see one. If I make a decision to trade, I keep my price firm. After that, I let the market go. I'm either getting 8 ticks or losing 48. I'm more pragmatic. I can't have a billion things distracting me. Well, okay, yeah. I try and look at it as like, I have a price, and I determine my prices based on where I've seen things happen before. Like here at 26, there was a 20k block buy there before, and what do you know? There's another one there at 26, and it's acting as support, right? But now I need to see some indication that somebody's taking a big trade there and that they're actually going to hold that price for me to buy 26. You know? Like, I need to see something in the level 2 to tell me that I'm right about that spot. And I think I do get the spots right, just not the direction. And I wouldn't expect to get the direction right every time, because to me it's like a mix-up. Like, this is how I think of it.
We haven't done a contingency planning for order.
Oh, I need to post this thing. But I look at it as like some big trader wants to make a trade. He wants to buy it at 26. Okay? How does he do that without the market knowing? Well, he could do one of two things. One thing he could do is he could sit on the bid there with a big iceberg and put pressure on the market and try and convince people to sell into him. Or he could, you know, let the market go through and then aggressively buy it here at 26. And there's pluses and minuses to either of them, right? If he does it with market orders, then he kind of can create some momentum and he can push it. But if he does it with limit orders, he's able to create more pressure, right? So there's two ways that he can do it. And here's the problem.
Block sell.
They look like the opposite of each other, you know? When you're doing, they look like they're the complete opposite of each other, even though he's trying to go long. And so when you see that and you see 23,000 block or iceberg buy at 26, is that a big guy really trying to buy 26, or maybe just taking a profit? Or is that there's some people that really want to sell and they're going to create some momentum that's going to go through it? It's a mix-up. You don't really know, because the big trader, the one that's really in control, could be doing either one, and you don't know which way he's playing it that day. That's kind of how I think of it. So, from my perspective, if I get the spots right, I would expect that I would still have a win rate somewhere around 50%. Make sense? But what's happening is, I'm getting the direction, I'm getting the spots pretty okay, but I'm getting the directions just really super wrong all the time. ZN is always trickier because it's slower. We can clear 3 to 4 quarters in a day, and ZN can do 1 every day or 2. Yeah, well, ZB can be slow too, but you're looking for 4s in ZN really. It's like if it'll go 4 ticks at a time. You can even see on that move up. You're gonna have a 3-tick range here, and then there's 4, and then there's 4. And then the reason why the average range is 4 to 5 is because there's always a couple that go into the other side, but aren't able to push through that price. Is the end just extra thick? Yeah, but there's advantages to extra thick, you know? It's easier to see what's going on, for sure. Well, that's interesting, that big order, by the way, that was way down there at 23 actually moved up. Well, I don't know if it moved up, it disappeared, and now we're actually getting some stuff at 25.5. I feel like it's easier to know, it's easier to read the momentum on it, and it's easier to see a place hold. Because in ZB, here's my problem with Z. This is what happens to me in ZB. I'm talking too much, I gotta go. This thing right here. We're getting momentum. I'll buy 07. Yes, awesome. I've got 3 ticks and now I'm minus 3 ticks. They happen all the time. This kind of slow, you know, then it goes. That's not so common in ZB. It tends to do these wild swings, and if you don't catch the edges of them, it can be really not fun. It can be really not fun. Okay, I'll be back. I gotta post my notes and stuff.
Block buy.
The volume on this thing is just insane today. Okay. Well, it's just some crazy volume. So, any other comments? Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out, guys. I just, I mean, I see some things that I think can help me, but it's just kind of like a lot of this is just adjusting to markets, I think. You know? Like, I get what you're saying. I like what Smoking Pips is saying because I traded that way for a long time and I was really successful at it. And it might have been successful today it would have been successful today if you could have seen it. But that's kind of where it turns into when should you look for it and when shouldn't you? Because I think you really have to be able to do both. I think you need to be able to trade within trends and within counter trends and adjust to the market that we have. The market that we have right now there is just a crazy amount of volume out there because of the spreading. And because we're getting close to yield curve inversion. So, we have to adjust to that because these icebergs might not necessarily be the right thing. But also, it does seem like even though we came off of the 28 halves, it still looks like mostly buying. So, I don't know. We're going to pay attention to where it ends up today. If we end up higher, or if the E-mini makes another dip down, I think that would be very telling for me. Anyways, so I've gone over way too much. I will catch you guys later.